What's up, Orbiters? It's Torque here. Today I'm going to be talking about transitions. I think it's a really important part of a light show. I really think it separates an average show from a really good show when you're transitioning between moves cleanly. I see a lot of people have their execution down as far as the move itself, but I see a lot of people struggle from getting from move A to move B, or from move A to move C, or whatever it may be. So that's what I'm going to be talking about today. I'm going to go over some basic concepts, what I think about, and then just give some examples. So I like to think of two things. One being a shared point between two moves. So when there's a common point from move A to move B, you can make the switch from move A to move B because it shares a point. A really easy example for that is, if you wanted to get into one-handed moves. A really nice way to do that is to go into figure eights, because figure eights have your hands together where you can just slide the handle over to the other hand, and then I have it in one hand, and then I can easily go into one-handed style stuff and come back out of it pretty easily. So that's what I mean when I talk about a shared point. Your hands are together with figure eights, and they're together when you go into one-handed moves. And I'll give some more examples a little bit later. And then the other concept is connecting moves or bridging moves, where you're in move A and you want to get to move C, and they don't really share a common point, so you use move B to get to that point. And so, for example, liquid, for example, is a really good connecting move for me because it just shares a lot of points with a lot of moves. So let's say I'm doing pivots and I want to go into wraps or figure eights or something like that. So I'm doing pivots, and there's not really a point where it's smooth to do that. So I'll be pivoting, I'll pivot, and then from this pivot, I'll liquid. And from liquids, you can go into figure eights, or from liquids, you can easily go into wraps and back. And then when you're liquiding, you can stop and go back into pivots. That's really the two main things I think about. I'm sure there's tons of other ways to transition, but I think that's a good starting point. Feel free to experiment with those. At this point, if you wanted to, if you got what you need from the video, you can stop. I'm going to give a few examples of things I like to do. So feel free to keep watching if you're still interested. So another thing I see people doing is when they start off circles, they have this motion that they do. They kind of throw their arms out. I think it's a little bit sloppy. We like to do this move a lot, but getting to it, there's a few different ways that I like to do it. So if I'm pivoting, I'll pivot back here, and from here, that motion I think is a lot smoother than that forced motion like that. So if I want to get into circles, I'll pivot behind my back or something, and then I'll come out of it. Another one I like to do is, so if I want to get into some one-handed stuff, I can use wraps to do it. So let's say I'm doing this and I start wrapping, and I want to do one-handed stuff. There's this wrap that people do, these bounces, which I'm not very good at, but bounces. So those bounces have a really good point for one-handed moves, because you notice here my hands are together when I do these bounces. They end up coming together, and from here I can throw into a figure eight, or I can do one-handed stuff. lot of people like wraps, and so it's nice to know some transitions in that wraps. That's one I like to do. I also, like I said, I use liquids for a lot of stuff, so I will pretty much liquid. I'll do pivots and I'll liquid into wraps, and then I'll go into figure eights and I'll liquid out of those, and then I'll do body crawls and I'll liquid out of those, and go back into pivots. Liquids are really good bridging move between everything. So for example, let's say you were doing pivots and you wanted to get into one-handed moves. And you're not just gonna pivot, close your hands and do that, because that looks sloppy, in my opinion. So you use kind of combine all the concepts. So you start pivoting, then you drop in the liquids. From these liquids, you can either wrap and do the bounce wrap here, or you can go straight from liquids to figure eights and go into one-handed moves from figure eights like we talked about. Just catch it like this. If you want to transition out of one-handed stuff, I'd use wraps like this. Then as I'm wrapping, I'd shorten up the string little by little, and then I'd go into figure eights. That's just a couple examples. I could ramble on and on and on about the different transitions I like to focus on, but I think it's really important to get those down smoothly. So two things: shared point and connecting moves. If you have any questions or if you have any ideas, feel free to hit me up, or get on my page or get on the tutorial page or whatever and ask us questions, and we'll be happy to help. I hope you learned something, and have a nice day.